What's up, people? As I promised in my Castlevania Advanced Collection review, we'll be looking at each of the 4 games it has. And today, we're gonna be looking at Circle of the Moon, the very first 2D Metroidvania released after Symphony of the Night. Being the most different out of all Metroidvanias, Circle of the Moon has a lot more merits than people give it credit for. So much that some of its features would be seen in later Metroidvanias, like Aria of Sorrow and Order of Ecclesia. Add all that to the encyclopedia and the gadgets we got in this collection, and Circle of the Moon is reborn. And I'll tell you all about it. And all I ask in return is that you hit that like button and subscribe. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present you Circle of the Moon Reborn. Released in 2001, Circle of the Moon had a huge scythe hanging over its neck. It was the first Castlevania after Symphony of the Night, the game that single-handedly changed the face of the entire franchise and defined all that would come in the future. In Symphony of the Night, you had dozens of different weapons, and most of them had their own unique sprites. From the common short sword to the almighty Chris Redfield, many weapons had special inputs and functionalities besides simply attacking. There was also the matter of all the different spells Alucard had at his disposal. He could throw fireballs, summon spirits, heal by absorbing blood, and even steal life force from his enemies. Not to mention the transformations. And there was also the technical issue of the Game Boy Advance only having 4 action buttons. That was half of what the PlayStation had. In order to offer most of those features to the player, and some of them would even exceed what we had in Symphony of the Night, the developers came up with a very intelligent dual card system, or DSS as we refer to it in this video. You have 20 cards in total, split into 2 groups of 10 cards each. The first group governs the action you'll take. The Mercury card, for example, is a whip modifier card. Any attack you make with the Mercury card will have the elemental property of the attribute card of your choosing, which is the second group. Salamander yields a fire whip. The Golem turns enemies into stone. The Manticore turns your whip into a portable black plague, and so on and so forth. The DSS system yielded a total of 100 possible combinations. This was absolutely jaw-dropping for a Game Boy Advance game. You can create toxic clouds, turn your whip into a flame sword, go melee combat, use Yaijutsu, the quick draw technique, increase your attack as the percentage of the map uncovered increases, have extended invincibility after being damaged, send a shockwave after each attack, summon 10 different familiars, one-upping the 7 found in the Japanese versions of Symphony of the Night and their American PSP/PS4 re-releases, and go full Final Fantasy, summon elemental monsters for devastating attacks that hate everything on screen. Really, it was ridiculous. Both the variety and quality of the card combinations you can make are amazing. Oh yeah, you also have a few healing combos like Jupiter and Mandragora. It's not much, and I'm pretty sure this was done on purpose. I'll tell you why at the end of this video, where I'll give you my final verdict. And also, take a look at the Mars combinations. Spending MP to attack with different types of weapons? I wonder where I saw that years later. Oh yeah, that was you, Shinoa, you thief. Beautiful thief. And also, if you do the Jupiter and Griffin combo, you get a sonic wave effect which damages enemies as you run. From Aria of Sorrow to Bloodstained, this move would almost always show its beautiful and practical face in one way or another. But there was a downside in the original game. You wouldn't know what the card combos actually did until you did it. Yeah, it's weird, I know. The Mercury and Mars combos were pretty simple to pull even by mistake, but there were other combinations that weren't so obvious both in execution and effect, like their Uranus card. It requires a special input, which is in one fluid motion, as if in a fighting game. Down, left or right, up, and then attack. When the hell were you gonna try this on your own? Really? And then there's the issue of the number of combinations. While the staggering 100 combinations possible was amazing, if you didn't think in terms of groups and not numbers, things could get pretty confusing. And even if you did get smart on how you categorize the cards inside your mind, you could still get a little lost at times. And this wouldn't be a Metroidvania if it didn't have different pieces of equipment and accessories. In here, they were very intelligently streamlined to accommodate the technical limitations of the Game Boy Advance. If in Symphony of the Night you had hand slots for weapons, shields, and usable items, in Circle of the Moon the arm slots accommodated gauntlets, armbands, and your rings, your accessories. But the limitations of not having a button free to use items also yielded a very useful feature. From here on out, using items was done instantly in the menu itself. And this was much more practical than having to throw a turkey on the floor and then trampling all over it before eating. Dude, seriously, Alucard was one weird dude. You'd think he'd be more polite having a royal upbringing and all. Oh well, I guess he's too beautiful for manners. And this was another of Circle of the Moon's triumphs. Even though its hardware was much more modest, you still had all of the item hunting present in Symphony of the Night. And since Metroidvanias equal exploration, let's talk castle layout. This is the Metroidvania that differs the most from its peers. In Circle of the Moon, there has been a noticeable verticalization of the areas. You'll find yourself jumping, double jumping, and skyrocketing more often than not in order to proceed. And it's amazing how one small design change can have such an impact. Fuck my cell phone! My alarm began ringing, I'm sorry. And as I was saying, it's amazing how one small design change can have such an impact in the gameplay while not feeling intrusive in the slightest. If anything, this added even more character and personality to the game. And this is because of one key aspect Circle of the Moon nailed like a king. Its gameplay is very fluid and nimble. Nathan runs, jumps, and skyrockets with extreme ease. And yes, the skyrocketing concept is an evolution of Symphony of the Night's high jump. Just hold up and tap the R button. Simple and effective. Still on the environment department, if you played this game back when it was released, then just like myself, you were surely impressed at how good the castle looked. With vibrant colors and good variety in terms of locations to explore, dashing through the castle like a madman was very interesting. And there were plenty of different enemies for you to fight along the way too. Just take a look at the bestiary. You see, it's the combination of an area's aesthetics and its enemies that make it fun. And for the most part, Circle of the Moon nailed it like a boss. Wait, did I just say boss? Ha, that's interesting, because Circle of the Moon has some of the most interesting bosses I've ever seen in a Metroidvania. I love Carmilla's true form. It's big, mean, and weird. And also, Circle of the Moon's bosses required you to have a very good card combo ready to go, or if you were down in your luck, to be on your toes when fighting each boss. The zombie dragon twins are a living proof of this. Okay, more or less living. You had to learn their patterns and tells. Rushing in like a fool would almost always send you to an early grave. And are you gonna die before you defeat Dracula? Come on, you got an oath to keep. And all of that demon slaying, card hunting, and occasional cursing because you have no idea where to go next is accompanied by a very robust and beautiful soundtrack. Even with the Game Boy Advance's limitations, memorable tracks were created. If you're playing the Advance Collection, and quite frankly you should for reasons I'll tell you in a moment, head over to the music player and give them a listen. A good listen. And also, there's a reason why so many retro console songs sound so great and are so easily remembered. And no, that's not just your nostalgia. If enough people get interested in this subject, maybe I'll make a video about it in the future. I am a musician. Now, speaking about this game's downsides, it does have a few of them. The most glaring ones were remedied by the Advance Collection. The aspect that made it a game reborn will come up next. And also, many of the loose ends you'll find in the castle will only contain things like HP, MP, and heart upgrades. They could have thrown in an occasional exceptional ring, piece of armor, or armband to make it, going for the 100% map more compelling. And also, every Metroidvania enables you to play as a different character after you beat the game. Symphony lets you play as the monster Richter Belmont. Aria has Julius Belmont. Harmony gives us Maxim. Dawn gives us Yoko, Julius, and Alucard. And Order of Ecclesia gives us Albus, Mr. Deathbringer himself. Konami dropped the ball here, man, especially since Hugh has so many cool moves when you fight him. And for those of you about to pull the Maria card in the Saturn version of Symphony of the Night, let's just say that I have something in the works about that, so subscribe, you won't want to miss it. And now, here come the golden changes that made Circle of the Moon be reborn. As amazing as the card system is, the original game had a glaring flaw. you never knew which enemies yielded cards or not. So if you wanted to get all of them, or even worse, just a few more to maybe help you in a difficult situation, you'd be left running in circles defeating several types of enemies just hoping you'd get something. As I explained in my Advanced Collection review, which I'll leave the link to for you right now, this made for tedious legwork. It was a lottery system, substantially detracting from the game's fun. The card mechanic is a core element to Circle of the Moon, and having to track back and forth with nothing but guesswork to go by was horrible. In the Advanced Collection, however, this was instantly fixed. Under the gadget section, you have the option to see in real time which enemies yield cards and which ones don't as you attack them. And also, if you already have a type of card the enemy you're attacking would yield, the gadget will tell you by displaying it next to the enemy's name. This is really useful. But there's more. If you head over to the encyclopedia, you can see which enemies yield which cards, so the hunt for them gets even more practical. Those two features make Circle of the Moon a game reborn. Just ask any veteran to the series how much better they make this game. As for the Unlockables, the game has a few of them. After you beat the game, you gain access to a new mode where you have access to every single damn card from the outset, and each new time you beat it, you get a different mode. 4 new ones are presented to the player. Aside from the Magician mode, most of them are more of challenges than anything really, but hey, if you want them, they're there. And now, for my final verdict. After Symphony of the Night, every Metroidvania would always have a huge sword hanging above its neck. And even with all its limitations, Circle of the Moon not only delivered everything a full Metroidvania game needs to present, but also created a few mechanics that would be seen in later games. As a matter of fact, now that I've played it again after over a decade, I see even more qualities than before. And remember when I told you that, the game having little healing spells was done on purpose? Well, this game also lacks merchants. It's pretty clear to me that those things were made on purpose, in order to make the player up his game and make good use of the colossal card system. So in the end, the curse of every band's second album was beautifully broken. Circle of the Moon is an excellent game in its own right. If you add that to the gadgets presented in the Advanced Collection, the game skyrockets, earning a solid 9 out of 10. And before I leave you, I'd like to thank you. My Advanced Collection review has spiked like crazy on YouTube's radar. And that's all thanks to you. Getting to that 1,000 subscribers mark is almost within our grasp. So really, thank you so much. I had a hunch this video would do well, but you guys totally one-upped me. It's doing more than well. So it's with a lot of gratitude in my heart that I leave you. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the top Metroidvanias you must play. It's gonna be up next. Downward out.